the fluorescent lights of Max Tech. Industries hummed their familiar midnight song as Marcus. Wilson pushed his cleaning cart down the executive floor, his daughter Lily's small hand clutching the hem of his janitor's uniform. At 7 years old, she should have been home in bed. But home had become an impossible place, empty and cold since her mother's passing 3 months ago, and now without power because Marcus had chosen to pay for Lily's asthma medication instead of the electric bill. "Daddy, is this where the important people work?" Lily whispered, her wide brown eyes reflecting the gleaming marble floors her father polished every night. Marcus's heart fractured a little more. "Everyone's important, baby girl. Remember that." What neither of them knew was that Catherine Hayes, the company's CEO, was still in her corner office, watching them through her glass wall. She'd been reviewing quarterly reports, but now the papers lay forgotten on her desk as she observed the janitor she'd never really noticed before, the invisible man who kept her world spotless, carefully, settling his daughter on the lobby couch with a worn blanket, positioning his cart so he could see her while he worked. Catherine found herself unable to look away. The girl pulled out homework from a backpack held together with duct tape, studying under the harsh hallway lights while her father cleaned. Every few minutes, Marcus would glance over, ensuring she was safe, warm, still breathing, the vigilance of a parent who'd already lost too much. Something stirred in Catherine's chest, something she'd buried beneath quarterly earnings and market share battles. She'd built an empire on efficiency and bottom lines, had fought her way through glass ceilings by being tougher, sharper, colder than anyone expected. But watching this father and daughter, she saw something she'd forgotten existed in the corporate world: raw, unguarded love. She should have returned to her reports. Instead, Catherine Hayes made a decision that would change everything. The next morning, Marcus arrived at his supervisor's office expecting termination. Company policy strictly forbade bringing family members to work. He'd violated that policy 7 times now, ever since Mrs. Chen next door, his only babysitter, had moved away. Each night, he'd held his breath, waiting for this moment. "Mr. Wilson," his supervisor said, but before he could continue, the door opened. Catherine Hayes stepped in, and Marcus felt his stomach drop. The CEO herself. This was worse than he'd imagined. "Mr. Wilson, I'd like to speak with you," Catherine said, her voice unreadable. Privately. In her office, a space Marcus had only ever seen through glass while vacuuming, Catherine gestured for him to sit. He perched on the edge of a chair worth more than his monthly rent, his janitorial uniform suddenly feeling like a costume in a place he didn't belong. "I saw you with your daughter last night," Catherine began, and Marcus started to apologize, but she raised a hand. "I want to know your story." "All of it, and I want the truth." So Marcus told her. About Maria, his wife, taken by cancer. About Lily's asthma, the medications that cost $300 a month even with insurance. About the eviction notice he'd received last week. The careful calculations he made every day, food or electricity, rent or medicine, dignity or survival. About how he worked this night shift because it paid $2 more per hour than day shifts. Those $2, meaning the difference between Lily eating 3 meals or 2. He told her about applying for dozens of better jobs, each rejection another blow. About his high school diploma that seemed worthless now. About the college dreams he'd once had before life had other plans. About Lily's brilliant mind, how she loved mathematics and dreamed of being an engineer. How he stayed awake at night terrified. He'd fail her the way the world had failed him. Catherine listened without interrupting, and when Marcus finished, he saw something he'd never expected to find in a CEO's eyes: tears. "Mr. Wilson," she said quietly, I'm going to do something, and I need you to let me. Can you do that? Marcus didn't understand, but he nodded. What Catherine Hayes did next sent shockwaves through MaxTech Industries. First, she created a position, facilities, operations coordinator, and offered it to Marcus. Day shift, salary, benefits that would cover Lily's medications without question. But she didn't stop there. She announced a company-wide initiative, the MaxTech Family Support Program, on-site childcare for employees working non-traditional hours, emergency assistance funds, tuition reimbursement, not just for employees, but for their children, mental health resources, financial counseling. We've spent years optimizing productivity. Catherine told her executive board, several of whom looked at her like she'd lost her mind. We've forgotten to optimize humanity. The board resisted. This will cost millions, the CFO protested. Shareholders will revolt. Catherine's response became legendary. Then find new shareholders. I've spent 20 years building a company that makes record profits while our employees choose between feeding their children and paying rent. What's the point of success if it's built on the suffering of people like Marcus Wilson? If we can't afford to treat our employees like human beings, we don't deserve to be in business. 2 board members resigned. Catherine didn't blink. The initiative launched within weeks, but Catherine wasn't finished. She'd noticed something else that night, how Lily had been studying algebra, how Marcus had mentioned her dreams of engineering. Catherine established the Maria Wilson Memorial Scholarship, named for Marcus's late wife, providing full college funding for children of MaxTech employees. Lily Wilson became its first recipient. The story leaked to the media, as these stories do. Some praised Catherine's compassion. Others accused her of publicity stunts. Conservative shareholders threatened lawsuits. The stock price dipped. Catherine held firm. Let it fall, she told her remaining executives. We'll build it back on something real. And something extraordinary happened. Employees who'd been sleepwalking through their jobs suddenly had energy, purpose, loyalty. Productivity didn't just maintain, it soared. The on-site childcare center became a hub of creativity, with employees volunteering their skills to mentor kids. The financial counseling program reduced stress-related sick days by 40%. The emergency assistance fund was replenished by employee donations faster than it was used. Word spread. MaxTech became the employer of choice. For every position opening, they received hundreds of applications from talented people tired of being treated like expendable resources. Customers took notice. Within 6 months, the stock price hadn't just recovered, it had doubled. But the real transformation happened in quieter moments. Marcus Wilson, now in his new role, discovered he had a gift for logistics and people management. He understood the struggles of hourly workers because he'd lived them. Under his guidance, efficiency improved while morale soared. The janitors, security guards, cafeteria workers, the invisible people who kept the company running, suddenly had advocates. Pathways to advancement, dignity. Lily thrived. The company's child care center became her second home, where engineers and developers volunteered to tutor kids in math and science. She blossomed from the scared, quiet girl on the lobby couch into a confident student who already knew she'd attend MIT on the Maria Wilson Memorial Scholarship. 1 year after that midnight encounter, Catherine hosted a company-wide celebration. On stage, she stood beside Marcus and Lily, facing thousands of employees whose lives had changed. I thought I knew what success meant, Catherine said, her voice carrying across the crowd. I thought it was about profit margins and market dominance. Then I saw a father cleaning floors at midnight with his daughter sleeping on a couch, and I realized I'd forgotten the only metric that truly matters. Are we making people's lives better? She turned to Marcus. This man showed me that poverty isn't a personal failing, it's a policy choice. That we can either perpetuate systems that crush people or build systems that lift them up. That real leadership isn't about being the toughest person in the room. It's about being brave enough to care. Marcus, still uncomfortable with attention, simply said, "I just wanted to take care of my daughter." "Exactly," Catherine replied. "And now, because of you, thousands of parents can do the same." The applause was thunderous. But the most powerful moment came after, when employees lined up to thank Marcus, single mothers, immigrants, workers with disabled children, people carrying invisible burdens now made lighter. Each had their own story of how the family support program had changed their lives. That night, as Marcus tucked Lily into bed in their new apartment, the one they could actually afford now, his daughter asked, "Daddy, did you know that lady would help us?" "No, baby. I just hoped someone would see us." "I'm glad she did," Lily said, already half asleep. "You deserve to be seen." Marcus kissed her forehead, marveling at how quickly life could transform. Not through luck or charity, but through the simple, radical act of one person choosing to see another's humanity and respond with action. In her own home across the city, Catherine Hayes sat in her study, looking at a framed photo on her desk, Marcus and Lily on that lobby couch, taken from security footage. She'd kept it as a reminder of the night she'd rediscovered what truly mattered. Her phone buzzed with another message from her publicist about interview requests. Think pieces calling her either a visionary or a fool. She ignored them all. The only metric she cared about now was different. How many families slept peacefully tonight because someone had chosen to see their struggle and act with compassion? That number was growing every day, and in that growth lived the quiet revolution neither Catherine nor Marcus had planned. Proof that sometimes the most powerful force in the world isn't ambition or innovation or market disruption. Sometimes it's simply one person choosing to treat another as if their life truly matters. Because it does.